I do some limited house calls for people who either have a massage table or a mat that we can work on, so I don't have to bring my own stuff into their house. With some Comfort Touch clients, we'll work with them on a bed or a chair. So I just have been sort of gauging each situation individually to see, because a lot of my clients' homes are a lot more spacious and well ventilated than my office. Mm-hmm. So I sort of feel like it's actually not that dangerous to go into people's homes, depending on their home and what it's like. When I do work in people's homes, I bring my own stool to sit on. So especially with my hospice patients, I basically am not really touching anything except my client and my stool. So those things have all felt really safe until like this past week. And I had a hospice patient who he was already dying of lung related issues, and he had declined a bunch since I had seen him last, and he was coughing. Mm-hmm. And I was with him for about a half an hour. And so he ended up dying the next day, and the nurse was saying that he possibly has COVID. So now we're just sort of waiting to see if, so that sort of threw a wrench in my whole, I feel pretty safe with what I'm doing. Because I do think that what I was doing was pretty safe, but now I'm sort of reevaluating with the cases rising so much, if it's better to maybe just take some time off through the holidays or not. And I don't have an answer to that yet. Mm-hmm. So, and I did a lot of outdoor sessions in the summer when the weather was nice, and that was great. I actually really love working outdoors. Mm-hmm. So that was really fun.
I have a question. Do you use gloves?
I don't use gloves. I use a lot of hand sanitizer. But yeah, I don't use gloves.
It is, the indications for using gloves are more relevant with bloodborne diseases, fluid-borne diseases. But even in those cases, if you have intact skin and there's no open wounds on your patient, good hand washing, it's the most important thing. But with COVID, we're understanding it to be primarily airborne, and whatever might land on the surface is taken care of by thorough hand washing. 20 minutes soapy water breaks it down and kills it. So there isn't really the need. One of the advantages of Comfort Touch relative to other styles of massage or bodywork is that the person can be clothed. So we're not using lotion on the skin. Often we're working, right over the clothing. So that really makes logistics simpler. Anybody who is competent and ethical in their practice of massage right now would be diligent in following all of their state and local guidelines, the massage therapy organizations, as Juliet has done. She's researched every state guideline, follow the local directives to a T. But the other thing that I want to just say about online, like Facebook massage groups, are somewhat notorious for violating confidentiality. And I check them out every once in a while, but I cringe because they never say people's names, but I have this client who blah, 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 blah. And what do I do? Just that. And this is not a COVID thing. This is just in general. And so I have a personal policy to never, ever, ever talk about a client in an online forum or anywhere. It's just, to me, it's a total violation of confidentiality. However, if you're talking to a supervisor or someone, then that's another thing. But I would never go to a massage therapist or a practitioner who talked about their clients anywhere, including online. So I just want to reiterate that, because it's a real, it's a bad mark on our profession, I think. Some of the sharing that's done online. Nice thing, when you go into someone's home, you just, have them be wherever they are. And with Comfort Touch, you don't even need to go all the way through the house into the back bedroom. You can have them be in a recliner in the living room. You can have them be on the porch. You can have them be in a sunroom. So if you do have those options of a well-ventilated room that doesn't require you going all the way through the house, that's something to look at. I think by now, from probably our last talk, we've all gone through how many have tried out at least a dozen different kinds of masks. Good masks are much more readily available than when we first chatted back in April. You couldn't get a mask unless you made it yourself. Now there are lots of N95s, or the KN95, that are available. Some people are using masks and shields. I know that's kind of the case in, medical settings for sure, is double masking or mask and shield. But that it be well fitted. If it doesn't, if it's not puffing when you talk, if it's not fitted all the way around, that's the really key thing, is well-fitted mask. We have definitely by now disproven the myth that wearing a mask is bad for you. That was going around, so I can't wear a mask because I can't breathe. Well, it's different. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, especially if it's not well fitted. But I've done tests, personal, private little tests myself with the pulse oximeter, that tests, they put on the finger, that tests the level of oxygen in your blood. And the mask has no effect on oxygenation of blood. In fact, if you maybe are working a little bit harder to breathe, the blood oxygen level, if anything, will go up. So it may take a little more it may force you to breathe a little more efficiently and effectively, but it's not bad for you. It's not bad for your breathing. So to dispel that myth. In fact, I'm a flute player, and I can play a flute through my mask. And wow. I did a little video I posted this summer of me, because people were saying, "Oh, well, what are you people doing? Or musicians?" You can play. It's an end blown flute, like a recorder. Native American flutes is what I play, and they work fine with a mask. And just like we can talk, initially people were saying, "I can't talk if I have a mask on." Well, we've dispelled that myth. People just have to enunciate and project their voice, and actually, you can talk fine with the mask. So people who are used to just mumbling all the time are kind of getting forced to actually learn how to talk. So I've seen this evolution of the way that people are relating to masks.
If I notice a number of us wear glasses.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious, not to stop the process, but maybe in an email later or something, if anybody has their favorite mask, not to fog up your glasses, that seems to work well. I'd love to hear about it personally.
The key is well-fitted mask, and that is the nose piece. It has to have a wire in it that fits well. And there are a lot of masks that do that now. This is a N95. I think the key with these is and there's a variety of these, but the ones that have the internal wire are the best. Mm-hmm. And I flatten it. And you can see what I did. Make it shape really, really well to the nose. That's a real key. And sometimes you might need to even trim just a little bit to shape this outer edge just a little bit. Sometimes the bottom on these inside is a little itchy. So I put a piece of electrical tape there, and that just makes it smoother under the chin. So that's one option. That's just kind of an all-purpose mask. This is a nice homemade mask with a internal wire that works really, really well. Make sure that it's snug all the way around. Some people like to have the glasses come over the mask, but mine don't fit that way. So just the wire. This is Kaiser put out a mask that's pretty nice. It's better than, and it has wire too. Yeah, it's not as good a wire, so it's kind of my last resort. One of the ones, where's that one? Oh, this is one. This is my favorite, most well-fitted mask. This is one Juliet told me about. What's really nice about this one. It has a really good nose wire, and it's cloth, so it's washable, and it has a refillable filter that comes out. And these are a good idea because they have, the 2 layers of cloth and then the really good filter inside. So I love this mask.
Who makes those? Those, or where you got them?
Halo, I think. Halo is the brand. But the other really nice thing about this one, you can see this, and I've been using this one kind of a while, so it's breaking down, but see this little rubber strip along here? And Halo actually sells replacement ones of those. They're a little glue-on rubber strip, and that makes the best fitted mask. This is my actually very best go-to mask.
Okay. Because
it fits really well, and it has that extra little piece of foam in there.
That's nice.
And that's really the key to the best fitting one.
Who makes that mask?
Halo, Just look up Halo mask.
Yeah, it's the best fitting one that I found.
Yeah.
So
it's pricier. Another one that I just found, and this one I read an online review of it that was really good too. My son, the engineer, found this one, gave this one to me, and this one is a disposable mask. Comes like this, totally flat, but it opens up and it's got a really good fitted nose piece and a really nice adjustable strap. Fits really, really well. And it's N94 is what they call it, or KF94.
Face fit.
Yeah, and the review I read was someone who actually tested these. He has a whole system for testing, and this was one of his top ones. Because you can have one that has great filtering material, but then if you don't wear it to fit, it defeats the purpose. I mean, you could have a N95 and it is like you're wearing it sloppily. That's the key, is getting it to fit. Going into winter time, definitely a challenge, because with the difference in temperature, fogging is just more of a challenge. It really is, and there's just kind of no way around it. So you kind of have to deal with going outside to inside, which is like anybody who has glasses knows that. One of my tricks to keeping my glasses from fogging up so much when I go from outside to inside, I learned this a long time ago, is to walk through the door backwards, and your glasses will not fog up so badly. But anyway, this one, and it's just called Bluna, B-L-U-N-A. And these, I think if you just search it by that name. Yeah. And so they sell about 20 for $60, so $3 a mask. So this one I think is just a really good mask and fits really well, really comfortable, efficient, and just a good one to get a bunch of them. But anyway, so that's the key, is well fitting, and it takes, this is one of my original many cloth ones I made from the very beginning. It's still a decent mask. It's still, this little thing goes around the back and can be tightened up. It's still a really good mask, and it's double layered and then it tightens up with this strap back here. It's still a really good mask, and it can have a filter put inside of it. So there's a lot of places you can just buy filters too to put in a cloth mask. So when you're working with a client, if you're just going to the grocery store, you're just going outside, walk around the block, whatever, you don't have to be so picky. But if you're working with a client, yeah, it's worthwhile to go for the best. The rule is always safety first. Take care of yourself. I am really glad that finally CDC is coming out saying masks protect you, because this was a real error in the way that it was messaged, and partly because masking was not messaged really at all in this country from top leadership. We got in a mess about masks. But then the first message that came out through CDC was masks protect other people. Well, that's true. But that certainly didn't appeal to all the self-centered, selfish people in the country. And so now, if we would have from the beginning said, wear your mask or you're going to die, I think it would have been a much more effective, it would have been a much more effective message. The truth is that a filter works both ways. These are not one-way filters. So the truth is that masks do protect you, and they do protect the other person. So, take care of yourself, take care of your client. It's the same thing. But I think we really got into this half-truth of masks are about protecting the other person, which for all the people who don't care about other people, and unfortunately we do have a fair percentage of those in this country. We are America after all. It's all about me, right? Me. But I think we can do our job in telling people, wear your mask because it's good for you. And I think that's a fine message to say. And it's the truth for ourselves that we wear a mask to protect ourselves.
What do you think about shields for massaging?
I think they're great. I think they're great. In fact, about a month ago, kind of got an inside look at what's going on in hospitals, because my partner had what turned out, fortunately in that it was fixable, was a reaction to a drug, but it affected his breathing severely. And so we went to the hospital at 3:30 in the morning. But what I noticed he was in the hospital 3 days, and from the emergency room to being in the hospital, and really pretty much all the health professionals in the hospital that are working with patients are wearing double masks. So they might wear one kind of surgical mask and then another layer. So either double layers of mask or mask and shield. And the shield protects the eyes also, but it does give another layer of protection. So yeah, I think they're a great idea. I have some that are, they're like a pair of glasses you put on that have the shield that comes down. I haven't used it because I haven't really had the need to. But if I was working with patients, I think it's a really good option. But I noticed that all the doctors wore them. Yeah.
Yeah. I just ordered one last week. It's actually supposed to be delivered today. but it goes around your neck and it goes up. Because what I'm finding when I work with clients is that their heads are below mine. And so having a shield that's open at the bottom doesn't feel like it's really as effective. And so I had seen one where it goes up, that it's used by teachers a lot because they're working with kids that are, below them. So I've ordered one of those and it should be here today, hopefully. So, but yeah, I think shields are good.
Yeah. It was great. One of the doctor that came into the emergency room to see Fred, she was all masked and shielded and gowned and everything when she came in. She handed me a picture of herself. And I thought it was really sweet. It was like, it was like a little picture about that size. She handed me and she said, "Oh, hello, my name is," and this is what I look like. This is what I really look like. I just thought that was really sweet that she's done that. When I, asked him what it's been like, and he said in the last 7-8 months, he's been in the ER 5 years. In the last 7-8 months, he's seen more people die alone, and that just initially not having equipment, not being prepared, not having leadership, consistent guidelines. You could just really feel the emotional toll that this disease has had on health professionals. And I think if anything, if we can volunteer our time to, or just, offer it to people that are working on the front lines of healthcare, really need some support.
You covered it very well. I mean, we're mandated to wear them even if we're not working with patients. Only if you're in your office by yourself, and you're eating, you're allowed not to wear a mask. But everyone has to wear a mask at all times.
Yeah.
Like you said, double masks and shields are popular. I think I agree with everything that you said. They have to be fitted once a year for the N95s, and we used to joke about it, but now you see the importance of it. But now, so you could have different sizes. So I asked the woman, "Why do we have to be tested every year?" She said, "Well, if you gain weight or you lose weight, you might need a different size." And now it's pretty much you wear anything you can find in there. It doesn't matter the size. Every grabbing and using whatever's there because we still don't have a good supply of them.
It's still, and that's gonna get crazy. But the cloth, there's so many good cloth made ones now too. And really, if they have that wire, and you can even people use twist ties. I used the original ones that I made. I used just some craft wire I had laying around the house from some project. It took the wire like this and just, folded it back and forth 3 times, twisted it, and used that in, and it makes a very, very flexible wire. So yeah, but that's, key, and then getting the rest of it to fit snugly around here. Little things like that. Some people do have little portable fans. Like if you were going to someone's home and you want a fan that maybe just directs the air currents a little bit or adds to the air current away from you, that's an option too. So I think if it's your own situation, you want, a good fan and a HEPA filter and all that. But if you're going to see someone in a situation, having a fan is, taking a little portable fan. That's a totally great option too. And just direct, it away from you. So, that whole thing of ventilation, I think we're all going to be so sensitive to air currents when this thing is over. It's like, whoa. And I'm the kind of person I always just can't stand to be in a closed room anyway. But now I'm like, where's the air coming from? Where's it going to? Yeah.
Thank you. I was wondering about the duration now. we're used to, often giving an hour massage or longer, but it's seeming that that's maybe too long to be together. I don't know. What do you think?
I love shorter sessions. I mean, an hour session is awesome from a receiving standpoint. And that's kind of typically in practice, kind of the standard in the massage and bodywork profession. With Comfort Touch, it is very efficient. If you're doing it well, it's very efficient. And again, that's one of the advantages of this mode of bodywork, is that you can do, you can do a great job in 20 minutes or half an hour. And so if you're going into a facility or someone else's home and you want to just say, let's just do 30 minutes or something like that, that's a good option. That's a good option. Certainly, I'll tell you, just someone who is totally alone, touch deprived, 10 minutes of touch is going to make a huge difference relative to nothing. So it's about quality of touch, not quantity. And I think that's one of the messages of Comfort Touch that I've long been insistent about, because I think in the massage profession, we've had this illusion, I've heard it many times, oh, I can't even get somebody to relax in less than an hour and a half, or someone will say, I really like to receive 2 and 3 hour sessions. Well, to me, it's like, what are you doing in all that time? I would rather have quality 10-minute, really focused person working with me than a much longer time that is not so precise. And one of the reasons that Comfort Touch is so efficient is that we're really using that awareness of the motor points. We're using that awareness that when we use direct pressure, we're calming the nervous system. So you don't have to work on the whole body. You just, even part of it, any part of it you're touching the whole nervous system. So it's a really holistic way of thinking about the body, rather than, oh, I got to work on this muscle, then I got to work on this muscle, then I got to work, Yeah. Diane.
So, I'm a big elder advocate and very upset about what the situation with nursing homes, and at least where I live, visitation is really not allowed. And do you have any ideas? It would be great to be able to give the nurses aides who are already hands-on, already touching residents, just like simple pointers of just how to do it. Like you said, it doesn't have to be but a few minutes.
Yep.
If you're touching them anyway, to do a couple of Comfort Touch techniques would make all the difference.
Right. And really that was part of the the inspiration behind writing this little book, is just, and CNAs really are doing the work of Comfort Touch. And I have given a number of little in-services for hospices where they're just talking to, where I'm talking to the CNAs. Okay, so they are the people. They're all set up to, do the hands-on care. They're bathing the person. They're doing all this hands-on care. And so bringing that awareness of Comfort Touch into it. Or sometimes they're there with a patient overnight or over time where there isn't much else to do. And so just to be able to, do the hands, do the feet, just this little picture that's on the back of this, just, and actually working on the feet is really a way, like if you're wanting to kind of ease your way back into it or offer to do something somewhere, the feet is really great because the person can be in their bed, they can be in a recliner. You actually almost have a little bit of, you have a little bit of distance there. I can just sort of have this picture of people, of some redesign happening in some of these nursing homes, assisted living places. Some of them do have inner courtyards. Some of them do have sunrooms, and they could be better used. That could be a really great place to offer touch, whether you're sitting in a wheelchair, sitting in a recliner, where you work on hands and feet. Certainly, I think one of our roles as practitioners of comfort touch, and I think Janice talked about this, is teaching people to do it. The ones teaching a family member. It's like maybe you're not able to see that person who is so sick, but you can say, hey, let me show you how to do this, or just try this, try that. And certainly show them like that little video I have. I think I sent this out to you before. Jessica practices comfort touch of the feet. That's a really nice one. It's free. It's on YouTube.
When you're training or giving some tips to people that are working in facilities, or you're physically touching them and showing them how to physically touch the other person?
Typically, yeah. Right now, I'm not. Right now, I'm not. But no. In my workshops over the years, we've always had that I teach comfort touch. There's always been a component of with the people that I'm teaching, of going into an assisted living and working on the residents. And a number of you have done that with me, which is always just awesome. And we can't do that now. So, well, we will again. We'll, hopefully this is not going to be forever. It's Comfort Touch of the Hands and Feet, a guide for family caregivers. It's basically step by step what to do with the hands and feet, based on the principles of comfort touch. Slow, comforting, respectful, into center, broad, and encompassing. Those first three, slow, comforting, respectful, those are before you even touch the person. Those are while you're touching the person, and that's just your overall way of being in this work, is slowing yourself down so that you can connect with the other person, that you can, if you're touching them, you can feel the movement of the breath in their body. But even if you're not physically touching them, just slowing down. And then comforting is that intention to comfort. And again, there's more to comfort than actually touching. I mean, it's the tone of your voice, it's your presence, it's your intention. It's like, I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to offer comfort. And, I just always in my head when I think of that is a fellow I used to talk to on the phone just occasionally. He was a colleague, an older man who'd been a massage for a long time, but he had quite a tough time as he got older, but I talked to him occasionally on the phone, and I'd sometimes go, oh, it's so hard to talk. I don't even know how coherent he's going to be today. And then, one day he said, it's always just such a comfort when you call me. And I was like, oh, yeah. So remember that counts, your intention to connect. And then the third one, respectful, respecting the person. It's self-respect. It's like wearing a mask. Wearing a mask shows respect for yourself, respect for the other person. And if we all just looked at it that way, it would be so simple. So those three, slow, comforting, respectful, everybody can practice those all the time. And then the other three, into center, broad, and encompassing. These are basically, the direction of pressure that you're working, encompassing, using broad contact rather than pokey fingers. And that's really what the technique is about.
I hate to say this, but what would be great is if you made a series of basic videos. They could be used for in-service for nursing homes. You know, they're always looking for once a week in-service things to do, because I don't think, I mean, they're so overwhelmed, the CNAs, that they're going to sit and read a book.
Yeah, I mean, I am, putting some content on YouTube, and would definitely like to do more of that. The video, the 34-minute video that I have, that one is really useful. And there are a lot of places actually that just show that as part of their CNA training. So that's there. That's 34 minutes. Some of them have used it in a CNA training, and then with someone to follow up.
We have used it, and I want to go back and look at it again. I haven't. It's been a while since I've looked at it.
I would have people check that out twice a year at least, and watch it again. I would have little quizzes from time to time, because people. I mean, this information is so much a part of me. It just makes so much sense to me. It's so simple to me that it took me a long time to realize it. Oh, not everybody remembers the 6 principles of comfort touch. So I start quizzing people. And if I'm in a supervisory position, I would do those little mini quizzes every month. We're in this really strange time, and especially this winter. I think as we come out into the spring, we'll be able to begin to look at possibilities, especially outside. I think I knew by May, when we first were kind of locked down, March, April, we thought, everything's going to be fine by the fall. I think in May, I started reading about the Spanish flu and realizing that, no, we're in this for a couple of years. But I think in some ways we're really in a time now of preparing, envisioning, and learning to prepare ourselves for that time that we do come out. Say the virus just wears itself out. Say we get a couple good vaccinations. Whatever. I mean, I'm still holding to that 2-year time frame at the outside. I hope it's not longer than that. But and then testing hopefully will get better. It's not great now, which will allow certain pods to work together. And back to the video thing. I love that. That you bring that up, Diana, because one of the things that I've encouraged people to do is, if you have questions about your technique, do a little video and send it to me. I can look at a video and I can give you feedback. And so that's one of the things I'm looking at doing in an online course. I mean, there is no substitute for hands-on, but people are getting very creative about how we use the media.
Yeah, one thing I was going to mention is, I think because volunteers, and I'm more focused on true care hospice, is that it's been so long since some people have practiced. Now, I know some people are practicing on family members and other stuff, but I'm going to recommend that we have, some kind of refresher for people who want to be active comfort touch people. And if that's something, and there's some people who really want to get back into it even now, but of course that's not allowed. Even though I have my moments when I think, isn't there a way we can figure this out, how to safely do this even now? But that's a whole other story, because of, just things I've seen. But I think we're going to have, I think for us, I'm going to recommend to the group that we do some refreshers.
Absolutely.
Maybe not a full-blown class, but,
absolutely.
Once obviously we have vaccines.
Lack of contact, lack of visit, it's killing people as surely as COVID, actually.
We all went into this line of work. We're all drawn to this because we believe in the importance of touch. And I think some of the things people are doing in the interim is, making, visiting people from a distance, which is better than no visit, calling people on the phone, using FaceTime. So there are some different options, but I think, yeah, we gotta, it's not good. We can't do this for 3 years. No,
Right.
no. And I think especially as the warmer weather comes around in the summer, there's no excuse that you can't sit out on the porch and do a little comfort touch time. And I think making it a shorter amount of time inside, these are the things to consider, are the barriers, the mask, ventilation, duration, hand washing, just all of those measures very clearly stated. Adopt a healthcare provider. Say, hey, let me come over and visit you on your porch and work on you. Because this is always the way that I got this work into hospitals and hospices. The way I got it into them in the first place was working on staff. So really, when the staff goes, this is awesome, I needed this so much, my patients need this. So it's almost like we are going to be re-educating, and Janice, in terms of volunteers, are going to need to be re-educated too. But we are re-educating staff, and we can do it really well this time because people are so touch deprived but we can do it with all these added understanding of safety. That was something I was very aware of, in rewriting the book was, oh my gosh, I'm writing a book about touch and I can't touch anybody, it's just so, and yet, I as I'm reading through all the stuff on standard and transmission-based precautions and CDC, I went to update all that information in my book. And the truth is it hasn't changed. Nothing's changed in terms of the recommendations. Transmission-based precautions are the same now as they were 15 years ago when I originally wrote the book. It's just that now it's more immediate. So we're really having to pay attention. But the rules, hand washing, it's not changed. It's nothing new. It's the same guidelines that have been there. The language has changed a little bit. They use the term transmission-based precautions rather than universal precautions now. I noticed that. So, I tweaked some of the wording. So, Juliet, anything else you want to say? Your hopes, fears, dreams for the future here.
I don't know. Like I said, it changes day by day. I'm hopeful that if we can get a couple good vaccines, that we can start moving things forward in the spring when the weather changes too. If nothing else, go back to doing some outdoor sessions. Mm-hmm. I think it's not a bad idea to think about doing shorter sessions, though currently I'm pretty much doing whatever length people want, but I'm always happy to do 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah. And I think we have to be really careful. And I think since one of the things that I've learned this year is everyone's risk tolerance is different. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I've been taking things on a case-by-case basis. And when I'm meeting with clients, I'm talking with them and just sort of like feeling out where is their risk tolerance level and what have they been doing? And do I feel safe with what they've been doing? And if I don't, then I don't see them again.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
For the most part, I feel like my clients have been really good and really responsible, and I feel very comfortable with them. Mm-hmm. But, nothing's 100% safe at this point. So I feel like I just do my best every day.
Yes. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. That was the messaging of Jacinda, can't remember her last name, the Prime Minister of New Zealand. From the very beginning of the pandemic, her messaging was take care of yourself, take care of each other, and just consistent with that, that message. And they've done quite well. Countries like Taiwan, same thing. Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, Singapore. I mean, they're just living life. They're back to normal. They still wear masks. But they're consistent about it. Everyone's consistent about it. And so, we see where that does work. I think that's really what this winter is going to be about, is really focusing on your self-care, learning, taking care of, just doing the things in your life. It's kind of like, what is your hibernation going to be about this winter? Our whole schedules, our whole routines have been disrupted. Our whole lives are disorganized, and they're going to be organized, but we can do it. So I just want to take a moment here to give you one lovely little practice. And this is just, it's in the book. It's called Breathing with a Pulse, but where you just take your pulse and inhale to the count of 4. Exhale to the count of 4. And that maybe just continue that. Inhaling to 4, exhaling to 4. And just notice as you do that pulse may be faster or slower or deeper or more shallow, but whatever it is, it's just fine. You don't have to change it. But letting your breath come into harmony with your heartbeat. Letting the rhythm of your breath sync with the rhythm of your heart. This year of wearing masks has taught us to pay even more attention to our breath and the power of our breath and the strength of our breath and the preciousness of our breath. And the rhythm and the pulse of our heart. So feel your place on the earth, your feet on the ground. Giving yourself a good hug every day and whoever you can in your life. Nurture yourself, let yourself be nurtured in the ways that are available to you. Call someone who might just love to hear from you. Write someone a letter. Use up those stamps that are in the drawer. And take care of yourself, take care of each other. And we'll see you next time. And stay in touch. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for showing up today. Bye-bye.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.